where they published the book. And there's a picture of me. It's the first picture I've ever seen of me in the pit at a gig. I was very excited. Using my Facebook profile picture for a long time. So I left university. I didn't really know what I was going to do. I went back to my parents. I was working day jobs, working activist, paying off debt. And a lot of my friends, I was always interested in music, and I used to play saxophone in bands. A lot of my friends were in bands, and I just started photographing them. It was a very natural, kind of organic thing. I just started photographing them. And then I saw an advert for a record company in London that wanted photographers. They just took me to new people. I went to see them, I started getting a little bit of work with them. Once every 2 months they pick me up and I go for a gig, do a little portrait session for them. And then I went to photograph concert and magazines. The photographer didn't turn up, so the record company put me in touch with the magazine. I went and showed them the pictures, and that was how I started doing stuff for a magazine. And then once you're doing stuff for a magazine, sorry, I'll stand back a little bit. Once you start doing stuff for the magazine, then then I started to do stuff once a week. So I was living in a town outside of Reading, travelling up to London, photographing a gig, coming back at night, developing pictures in my bathroom. If any of you are old enough to have started out doing analog photography, you might know the old baseball sitting on the bar with the developing tank bar and a towel along the bottom of the door to stop the light leaking in. So I would do that, develop the print, and then fly back up to London, deliver the pictures, and then come back and then work on my day job. So, it was pretty hard at that point. But that was how I got started, and that's really one of the things when you're starting out, is that you do just have to put in so much work, and you have to be there. You don't have an answer. You're going to start out. If somebody calls and says, go and do this, you go. And you just have to present it. I must admit, I don't relish the thought of starting out in photography now. It's so much harder. There's so many more photographers out there. Just an event like this wouldn't have happened 30 years ago when we did the event. So there are so many more people. I think it's a fantastic thing that more people have access to photography, but it does mean that in terms of a working paid job, there are a lot less people that are going to be able to make it at a really successful level. So good luck, really. But maybe there are new ways, social media, everything is changing. Everything is changing so much. And it's one thing I'm really fascinated in is how photography is changing. The way that we use photography as a digital diary, the way that we put our lives online, improve photographs. It was changing the way that we view ourselves. I don't know if anybody knows who Marshall McLuhan was. Yeah, exactly. We shake our tools, and thereafter our tools shake us. He was very good at the one-liner. The medium is the message, not the content of the medium, but the actual medium itself is what's really important, and that's what changes society, changes us. So I'm very interested inside this. Anyway, so that was me in the pit, and that was one of the photographs I took. Live photography was one of the things I ended up doing a lot when I first started out. I was photograph a lot of bands, because that's what we got sent to do. It's not when you get a live photograph that really works like that. I mean, I'm pretty much a big fan of that picture. You can take a lot of pictures of bands that are not so great as well. But really, what I was interested in was doing portrait stuff as well. So I would you'd start off going to photograph the gigs, starting out small, and then eventually you get given like a portrait session to do, and then a few more gigs, and then another portrait session, and then if your work fits in with the client's idea, then that's when things start to work well. And that sometimes takes a long time. It's just because the client doesn't necessarily like your style, your particular type of photography, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're not going in the right direction if you haven't found the right client. So that's me at work in the studio. And so I thought now I'd run through some of the contact sheets, which is still a sort of mean that we use. I still use contact sheets for the bridge and send them to clients. Sometimes I think it's an easier way of doing things, but you still use this kind of mean. But what you don't get to do, of course, is do these nice little china glass marks around everything. So I'll talk about how this session. This is Nirvana. This is Perseverance. And this was shot in Madrid in 1992. And it was pretty much one of the hardest jobs I've ever done. It was all going very wrong for them at the time. Although superficially it was going extremely well. Actually, everything was starting to break apart. He was on drugs, basically. And also Corby Love was there as well. And he's not an easy person to deal with, to put it mildly. So what you see here is, I said the pictures, but all the stuff that went on behind it. And these are the perils and the pitfalls. Waiting around for an entire day, pacing up and down, waiting, and phone calls being made to hotels, phone being put down, and phone not being answered, and basically not sure that you're actually even going to get to do the job that you've been sent to do. So the magazine would send me to go and photograph the band. And, because of something like this, you come very, very close to actually not getting a picture at all. I mean, this is just before sunset. It's just before the light is straight down, which is a nice time of day for light, and if you planned it, that's great. But if you've been told that you're going to be photographing in the morning, it can get a little nerve-wracking, should we say. Especially because you're not even working for the band, you're actually working for somebody's house. So if you go back and you don't have the picture, whatever you say, it still looks bad on you. You have to come back with the picture. So, you have to try and push and make sure that something happens, but without making so much of a pain of yourself that actually nobody wants to deal with you. I don't know, that's not one of those things you can learn. I don't really know how you go about it. You just have to sort of sense and feel it for yourself. So, as you can see, there's actually not really a lot of movement within these pictures, and obviously on a screen like this you can't really see. But what I'm looking at, when I'm looking for these, is I'm looking for something in the arms. And here's, you can probably see that relatively well. You can see the eye line, you see Chris never turning looking down, they roll looking down, you see Kurt sort of looking up above. But there's so many from this session, I mean, it was almost like, I want to get something out of this. And just hoping to God that at some point something will snap on and you'll get some form of connection. So here, and again, I mean, if you can see them clear enough. The eyes are really dead, like really, really dead. And he was shuffling along, like walking really slowly like this, and it's just like, he didn't want to be there. I mean, me and the journalist were in Valencia one night and then Madrid the second night. They were playing in very big stadiums, and it was the EU Euro tour. And he was very static on stage. You compare it to the earlier shots where he's jumping in the air, and that's only from 3 years ago. Only 3 years between that first night picture that I showed you and these pictures here. Actually less than 3 years. That was December 1989 and this is July 2022. And he was just the whole rock and roll machinery, the whole being in a band, being famous. It was a little country kid from Aberdeen, Aberdeen State, Washington State, a small town, it's just outside of here. And he wanted to play punk rock music, but he would wear t-shirts by all of these unknown artists or very, very small artists that didn't really care about any of them, mega bands and stuff, and then suddenly there he was YouTube. How do you deal with that? And then you've got recording, drugs, this horrible mix. And then what's my part of this? I'm helping to feed this star machine by taking very complicated thing. How did I end up getting involved in this star-making machine? And normally, you know, it's fine, and everybody plays along, and it's all happy families and everything, but then occasionally you get something like this, and it's just, you know, it's one of the saddest things that I ever did. It really is. So, I don't think any of the shots from here at all. There's some that have been picked subsequently, because, you know, it's a kind of a limited amount of pictures of development. But this particular frame here is quite well known. It's been used a lot. And there is something within that one frame which just is snapped on. There's something in the eye. You can actually look in. It's a very indefinable thing. What you're looking for in a portrait of a person, what are you trying to get? I mean, in a good section, what I'm trying to get is something unique and individual from that person. And I guess, in a way, this has that as well, because this is unique and individual, the whole story and the whole thing behind it. And there is something within that picture, there is this sort of like deadness about the picture, about him in the middle. I was lucky that I found this amazing location, which is great. It's the big park in the middle of Madrid. It has this lovely sweeping curve around it. I mean, I always, when you're doing a location shoot as well, looking for somewhere that has some form of interest. It's not a dominating factor, but it should add to the picture. They could just